ready.
Breathe. I do not say this in a condescending way. I say this as a friend. Patience, not panic. So last night, let's talk about it. If you've been watching this show for the past few days, the past few weeks, past few months, a lot of what we saw last night was not surprising. We knew going into last night that some states would look far more red early on and then drastically shift towards the Democrats because in those states, Democrat-heavy mail-in ballots had not been counted yet, which, importantly, in places like Pennsylvania, that is exactly what Republican state lawmakers wanted, despite requests from local election officials who wanted time to process ballots far in advance of Election Day, like how we do in states like Florida. We also knew that this manufactured situation would be used by grifters like Tommy Lahren on social media and TV to cast doubt on the results of legitimate votes in a legitimate election before final results were announced. And unfortunately, and most horrifyingly, we knew that Donald Trump would falsely declare victory. And that is exactly what we saw Donald Trump do last night, claiming that he won states in an election that he had not won.
We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
Something that was so ridiculous that someone like Ben Shapiro and someone like me actually agreed on something. Tweeting last night, no, Trump has not already won the election and it is deeply irresponsible for him to say he has. Which is also why I have said in the past and consistently stand by my statement, I feel like this election was Donald Trump versus democracy. The stuff that he tried to pull last night, the stuff that he is trying to pull today, is what you see third-rate dictators do in other countries. That is not something we should be seeing from a sitting president or even a presidential candidate in a democracy. And despite how jarring it was for so many of us to witness that, a lot of us knew that was coming. What a lot of people called alarmist or Trump derangement syndrome is just people paying attention to what the man has been doing. But one of the main things that I want to hit here right at the top is, for now, breathe, wait, and let's watch all the votes get counted. Also, be wary and skeptical of almost anything you see on social media right now, because we have already seen some, and you should expect far, far more misinformation being spread about votes being found, when in fact, what is being discussed are legitimate votes being cast in a legitimate election by legitimate voters. A number of grifters on social media, on TV, politicians, and they're going to try to use the situation that Republicans manufactured to call foul. But, and I really cannot emphasize this enough, there is nothing wrong or illegal about election officials still counting ballots after Election Day. This is something that happens in literally every general election, even when there is not historic amounts of mail-in ballots to count. It is impossible to expect a state that was not allowed to even count millions of absentee ballots until Election Day to finish in less than 24 hours, and anyone who is saying differently is either ignorant or lying and pushing an agenda. Now, with all of that said, let's talk about some specifics. And understand, as I'm recording this video, there is still a lot up in the air. It is a developing situation. Starting with swing states, we saw Donald Trump taking home Ohio and Iowa, as well as the much bigger electoral wins like Florida and Texas, which actually, to add to the things that we expected, like I said yesterday, I just did not expect Texas to actually be that close. So no Texas leg tattoo for me. But you know, those states were important for Trump to win. Those are all states that he won back in 2016. There was also a question of, could Donald Trump pick up new states, things that Hillary Clinton had won? But there, what we ended up seeing for Biden were clear wins in Minnesota, New Hampshire, Virginia, and Colorado. Now, very notably here, and like I said, developing situation, we are trying to practice patience. Some outlets, including Fox News and the Associated Press, have also called Arizona for Biden, which is incredibly notable because that is a state that Hillary Clinton did not win in 2016. Also, as of this morning, we're seeing a similar situation in Wisconsin with CNN, the New York Times, and AP calling the race for Biden, who, according to reports, won the state with a 20,000 vote lead on Trump. And there, we're seeing the Trump campaign saying that they'll be requesting a recount. Yeah, if that margin holds, it's actually very interestingly almost the opposite of the margin of victory that Trump had in 2016 there. And then, actually, before we get into states that have not been called yet, what developments we should see, some props, let's pay some bills and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the Philip DeFranco Show, Drop. Black Friday is just around the corner, and Drop makes it so incredibly easy to double dip on savings by giving you points back on all purchases when you start with Drop before you shop. Say you want to buy some holiday gifts like Apple AirPod Pros. You simply go to the shop page, tap on the offer, and tap Shop Now. Then you just complete the checkout like you normally would on the Apple site, and Drop will automatically add points to your account. It could not be easier. Also, take advantage of Drop's special offers and receive 10,000 points or $10 when you download the app from the App Store or Google Play using code PhilDeFranco. And your bonus will be deposited into your account once you've earned your first 1,000 points on the app. And on top of that, Drop is randomly gifting $10,000 worth of reward points into member accounts every Tuesday leading up to the holidays to spread, a little cheer. With new and existing customers eligible for this prize, make sure you download the app and sign up using my code if you haven't already. Just click that link below or go to earnwithdefranco.com, download the Drop app, and use code PhilDeFranco to kickstart your earnings today. But back to the news. Like I said, a number of states have not been called yet, though understand this is a developing situation. Some of what I'm saying may be hitting you when it's old. In Michigan, when we started the day with Donald Trump ahead by about 226,000 votes, there were still more than 1 million ballots that had not been counted, including from the heavily Democratic Detroit area. And actually, as of recording this video, as more votes have been counted, Biden's taken a 67,000 vote lead, otherwise seen as a 49.8 to 48.6% lead. Then in Pennsylvania, while we started this morning with Trump having a 675,000 vote lead, that has since shrunk by more than half to a 320,000 vote lead. But very notably, Pennsylvania's Secretary of State said this afternoon that there were still more than 1 million mail-in ballots left to be counted, which, remember, those are expected to heavily skew towards Biden, with reports saying that a nice chunk of them are also coming from the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh area where Biden is already winning, with relatively few votes uncounted in the strong Republican rural areas. And of course, like we've been saying for a while, we should not expect results out of Pennsylvania fully until Friday. Then in North Carolina, we saw Trump maintaining a 76,000 vote lead, but that state is also still counting all mail-in ballots that arrive until November 12th, as long as they were postmarked by Election Day. And finally, in Georgia, as of recording this video, and we actually may get results by the end of the day, but as of right now, Donald Trump has a 77,000 vote lead. But the votes that we're waiting for appear to be from counties in the Atlanta metro area where Biden is leading, with these also notably including mail-in ballots. But ultimately, that is where we are with the presidential election right now. And of course, like with everything I talk about on the show, I am fascinated to know your thoughts on what we have witnessed thus far and what you think is coming next. Then let's also talk about some important votes that do not involve the president. And I'll try to get to some of the notable candidates this week, but we're going to start with Prop. Starting with Prop 22 out of California, which of course we talked about on Monday. And there we saw Californians voting to exempt companies like Uber and Lyft from classifying gig workers as employees. California is also expected to pass Prop 17, which is a measure allowing felons still on parole to vote. Then in Florida, we saw voters overwhelmingly back a measure to raise the minimum wage to $15 asterisk by increasing the state minimum wage by $1 every year until 2026. In Washington, voters approved a measure requiring comprehensive sex education for students, which is notable because it is the first time a sex ed requirement has been decided on a state ballot. Also, big news out of Oregon, voters there have passed a measure that decriminalizes but doesn't legalize the possession of small amounts of hard drugs, with the measure now shifting the focus to addiction treatment rather than prison time. Oregon has also legalized psychedelic mushrooms, while the District of Columbia has decriminalized them. We also saw massive wins for marijuana legalization, with New Jersey, Montana, and Arizona all voting to legalize recreational marijuana. Also, Mississippi voted to legalize medical marijuana, and South Dakota actually voted to legalize both forms of marijuana, which I will say, when it comes to those drug measures, I am very happy to see this news. As I've talked about for the longest time, I think it just makes sense. Also, like how in Arizona and Montana, their ballot measure also made it so that people who were previously convicted of marijuana crimes, including felonies for possession, can now seek to have those convictions erased. And, you know, that's actually where I'm gonna leave it today. There are more props to jump through, Senate seats, House seats, but also to kind of come back around, right? Patience rather than panic. Part of what is important there is also pacing yourself. Right now, so many people are being overwhelmed, understandably. There's a lot that has happened, and there is a lot happening right now. Because among the other moving pieces, you should expect Donald Trump and the people around him to flail with what we're seeing as far as the results and make this as painful as possible to get him out of office. Right, even just 30 minutes ago, as I was recording this video, the Trump campaign has now filed a lawsuit halting the counting of ballots in Michigan. And actually, wow, as I was finishing up today's show, the Trump campaign is now saying they're going to sue Pennsylvania to stop the vote, with numerous Trump people also now falsely claiming that they won Pennsylvania. And there's no reason you should expect him to stop trying to invalidate and suppress votes or steal this election. And I say this to you not so you panic. I say this so that you know that it's coming. You can pace yourself. You can take a moment to breathe. And then, yes, react accordingly. I'm not saying just sit back and let him do it. But yeah, we need to think about this one step, a few steps at a time, rather than your brain's just going to implode if you take in everything. But ultimately, that is where I'm going to end today's show. And of course, as always, thank you for being a part of my daily dives into the news. Thank you for being a part of this family. Also, if you happen to be new here, you want to get adopted, hit that subscribe button. And hey, maybe even text me at 813-213-4423 for updates, behind the scenes goodies. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, we're rolling. Hey,
All
man,
right.
thanks for doing this. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here. Good
Hey,
to
my
talk to you.
pleasure. Honor to talk to you. I really, first of all, I really enjoyed you on Cafaro Cast. So shout out to my friend Aaron Snyder and
says
Frank the
hey.
Tank. Say hey right back to him. I listened to you on that show and I was like, God damn, what an interesting guy. What a fucking crazy life you've had. So you were on that show alone, right?
Right.
And explain that show for people who don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, so it's a show where they get 10 people. Each of those people get to pick out 10 basic items, like an axe and a bow and a saw and 10 items.
Just 10 items.
Right.
Does that include arrows? Like you can only have one?
No, your bow comes with 9 arrows. So you get a bow and arrows. Yeah, I guess is an item. So that's a loosely 10 items. And then they basically take 10 people, fly them out into the middle of nowhere and drop them each off by themselves. You got all the video camera equipment, and it's just self-filming, and it's basically the last one to give up wins. So
wow. And how do you know if anyone's given up before you?
You don't. You just they're out there. You could be out, like previously the show's been up. It's up to a year. So there's
a year.
Yeah, hypothetically it could go a year.
Holy shit.
So you just go out there and do your best and. Yeah.
What if you are still out there, but everybody else has quit and you don't know?
That's when they come and tell you that you won. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So when you won, they did that to you. They told you.
Right.
And how long did it take you? 77 days?
77 days. I
Wow.
was completely surprised, though. I thought it would go maybe twice that long.
You were ready.
Yeah.
But let's give people your background. Like, it's kind of unfair in a way, and Aaron brought this up on the podcast, that you were on this show with a bunch of people like me, like regular folks that have never really lived like that before, but you've done some crazy adventure shit in Siberia. And
yeah, so, man, I guess... how far do we want to go back?
Let's go back.
All
way
right,
back.
go back.
We have plenty of time. When did you get started with it? Have you always been an outdoors guy?
Yeah, we grew up on a farm in Idaho, and that kind of just puts you in the outdoors. I'd say I kind of had, but then I was doing the normal thing, working concrete job, working at a salad dressing factory, blah, blah. And then my brother took me out riding freight trains, and we rode across the country. I just like
a hobo?
Like a hobo, yeah.
Did you have a stick with like a bundle at the
we
end
were
of it?
advanced progressive hobos with backpacks.
Progressive hobos.
No,
so you just hopped the freight trains.
Jumped on a freight train, went across the country, up and back, and then I was also the first time I had been, alone for a while. At one point, I split up with them and rode for a week by myself. So it was like kind of a.
What year was this?
This was when I was 19. I'm 37 now, so something like that.
I'm bad at math.
Yeah.
So cell phone or no cell phone back then?
No cell phone, yeah.
No cell phone.
No cell phone.
Oh my God,
So,
like
yeah.
a crazy person.
No,
like,
it was
like a
awesome.
caveman.
It was a real taste of freedom, and I think that was kind of like a coming of age experience for me, because I just realized, oh man, I don't really want to, I wasn't going to be in this typical life after having experienced that. Like every night, it's like total freedom. You're up.
Yeah.
You never know where you're going to sleep. You never know who you're going to meet. You're always out there in the elements. It's pretty.
Now, when you did something like that, did you plan on doing it for a long period of time?
I mean, I guess we just planned to go across the country and check it out. And Ben, my brother, had been doing it for like 7 years. So
oh, really?
Yeah, so he was like the pro hobo.
A pro hobo. So talk me through the process. So he brings it up, or you guys discuss it?
Like long-term chronic illnesses.
Wow. What a lucky guy, dude.
I know. I mean, you got like the acid reflux thing, right?
I've got the GERD, I've got the Tourette's, I've OCD. I can't sleep before 3 a.m. I mean, what time do you go to bed?
What's that?
What time do you go to bed?
Oh man. I try to be in bed at like 11:30.
Wow.
Dude, this guy is way too well adjusted.
I'm like, with stuff like that, I'm like disciplined to a fault, I feel like sometimes. Because I'm like sometimes not even tired and I'm like, I have to get in bed right now. Because anytime you hear like people, like motivational people talk, they're always like, sleep is the most important thing.
Yeah.
You got to get 8 hours of sleep. So I'm super like anal about that. I'm like, I need to be in bed at 11:30.
No, they're right. I mean, I agree. It's just I cannot fall asleep at times before 3. So this is probably the worst thing in my life right now is that I'll go to bed at 3, sometimes even later. I'm not even gonna fucking lie. Sometimes 4, and I'll wake up super late in the day, and it's just horrible. It's horrible, dude.
Yeah, my sleeping schedule is pretty good, but my eating schedule gets really weird. Like
I don't have an eating schedule, bro. I fucking just eat. What is the eating schedule?
Well, you have like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like most people eat lunch at like noon and then dinner at like 6. I don't know. But sometimes it's usually because like I'm working and then I don't eat lunch until like 4. And then I'm like, well, when am I supposed to eat dinner now? So I end up eating dinner at like 9. And that feels weird.
Wow.
So I guess that's basically the biggest like problem.
Wow. Yeah, that's a huge issue, dude. What does your wife do for a living?
She's in school right now. She's doing her master's in social work.
Oh.
So yeah, so she's just doing school and she has an internship. That's where she is right now. Working with like, she's doing like therapy for youth. And yeah.
Sounds like another well-adjusted, nice person.
She's very well adjusted. That's my favorite thing about her.
My favorite video of yours is when you spent $13,000 on ads promoting your channel and you gained 40 subscribers. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. Total great use of money for sure.
$325 per subscriber. That makes me wonder about how someone like Ty Lopez, I guess he's selling a product and like a whole thing, but I just wonder, it just makes me think, how do people make money doing that? It's just because when I see ads on YouTube, I bounce the fuck out immediately.
I know. Yeah, that's something I didn't really think about before I made that video, but it's like, I don't think I've ever clicked on a YouTube ad once ever.
Ever.
Or like even an Instagram ad or anything like that, because that's the reason I made them is because of those Instagram game ads. And it's like, I don't know what kind of person you have to be to click on them, but I don't think I've ever met anyone like that. So I don't know how they work.
They're out there apparently because thank God they're out there because we're all making money because of them. You know what I mean? But damn.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Have any of you guys ever, there's a bunch of people on the call. Have any of you guys ever seen anything and clicked? Ever? Like I sometimes you see a car commercial and you're like, cool, Lincoln. I'll never buy Lincoln.
No, but there have been ads that like I'll watch all the way through because I'm like, oh, this is an interesting ad. But then the second it's over, I'm like, okay, I forget about it immediately.
They got you then. They got you. But he made this video where he was like, he's like, week 1, normal dude. Week 2, cool dude. Week 3, wizard. Trying to get people to sign up. That was the worst performing one, right?
Yes, I think so. So I think that one was the worst, and then was the second one the normal one, and then the one that performed the best, me spanking myself.
It was him spanking himself aggressively on a green screen, and that one did the best.
Oh my god,
the test was like so. Video. I do a series about like bad Instagram ads and like. I'm sure you guys have seen like bad game ads where they're just like the weirdest phrasing and like really graphic stuff to try to get you to download the game. So I was like, I'm going to make 2 ads that are really weird and one that is like just a genuine ad for my channel and see which one does better. And yeah, one where I'm just like spanking myself. That's me on a green screen and I'm spanking myself. And the version of me that's getting spanked is begging the viewer to please subscribe to my channel to make him stop spanking me. And that one did perform the best, I think, because people were just so shocked that they were like, I got to click on this guy's channel to figure out what else his content is about.
I would almost, because you were running that for like a long time, I would almost be embarrassed because you're like, I want you to know why I'm doing this, but you won't find out for a little bit. Because he was starting to get a bunch of people being like, fuck this guy, fuck these ads. Because the ads were going out to millions of people. He only got 40 subscribers from it.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
I do feel like there's a good chunk of like YouTube's viewership that will never watch my videos forever because they just recognize me from ads.
You have to also count the people you lost. Like you gained
that's
40.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah. I think that video did pretty well. I made up for it in subscribers because a lot of people saw the video that never saw the ads. But I do have to wonder about the people that saw that video, saw the ads, and like will never fuck with me again because of it.
Yeah, which is kind of ironic since you're actually just paying their favorite creator so that they can continue doing it. But
I know, and I got a lot of comments too that were like, "Stop giving me ads. I don't want any more ads on YouTube." And it's like, well, you know that if it wasn't my ad, it would just be someone else's, right? It's like I'm not in control of all ads on YouTube.
But it's so interesting. You can actually buy memedom for like, I do wonder how much Ty Lopez spent, but for what, 100, you spent like $13,000. If you spend $100,000 on just blasting your video out to everybody on YouTube, you'll become a total meme, like an international meme. 100,000. Best marketing ever. Ty Lopez.
Yeah,
still
that's a good
talk
point.
about that guy.
I wonder how that worked out for him. I feel like, I mean, he must have made a good amount of. He was like selling a program or something, right? About
Dude,
how
he
to
just
get
bought.
rich or,
He just bought Pier 1. You know Pier 1?
oh yeah, like
They went bankrupt. He
the
bought the
company?
whole company for 31 million.
Really?
Yeah. So
What?
he's doing good.
Did I just go to Pier 1? I went to some.
Ty Lopez owns Pier 1.
I went to some decor store that was going out of business. I think it was Pier 1.
How have I not heard of that?
It's just the weirdest shit ever. I mean, I talked about it with Cody,
Oh.
and he's like, I don't know how that's going to work out for him, but he thinks it's a great idea.
Wait, so that's outdoor furniture? What is it?
What the
Pier
fuck
1?
does Pier 1 sell? Like bullshit. Just a bunch of
I
crap.
thought it was just like interior
Just furniture?
decorations. Yeah.
It's like one of those stores you walk in and it's just a bunch of crap everywhere. And you walk through and you're like, a candy cane with candy canes in it.
Actually, I'm not. So I just went to Pier 1. I'm pretty sure that boat, that little sailboat thing, and that picture frame right there are
There
both
you
from
go.
Pier 1.
That's exactly what I would expect to find in Pier 1.
Because we just went there because it's going out of business. So we were like, let's
Oh
go.
my God.
Clean up.
Yeah. I still haven't put a picture in the picture frame, but I think it's a nice frame.
Who needs it? Yeah. Oh, so I wanted to actually, there's a trending topic I wanted to talk to you about because of your experience with copyright and everything. You got in trouble with Johnny, Yes Papa. Of all people to get into a copyright dispute, I would say they are probably the most intimidating.
Yeah, that was super weird. And I think to this day, they still have one of my videos copyright claimed because somehow they claimed me and then I disputed it and they released it. And then like a couple months later, they claimed me again for the same video for the same content. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
I thought like once it was resolved, it's resolved. But
Right, it should be.
yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me. It's like, okay, we've been over this, but you can just claim my shit again.
Yeah.
So what happened with Johnny, Yes Papa? What was the? Are you familiar with that song?
Yeah.
Johnny, yes Papa,
Papa.
stealing candy.
No, Papa.
Yeah. It's a banger. Anyway.
Yes.
So
that channel's Billion Surprise Toys. I don't know if they came up with that song. I think it was like a thing before them. Because I feel, or at least I've seen it so many other places that I feel like there's no way that they came up with it. I feel like it was like a popular like nursery rhyme or whatever before that. But yeah, they made like these really terrifying animated videos with that song. Just terrifying because the animation was so bad. And they had like a bunch of other weird stuff too. So I just made a video about them and then they copyrighted my video. And then they didn't copyright that video. And then I made another video about them where I sort of bragged about how everyone else was getting copyright claimed by them and I wasn't. And then they copyright claimed that video.
But not the original one.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. And I think they took down a lot of the videos that I talked about in that first video. So the only place you can see them is in my video.
Yeah, I was trying to find the original one that all this dispute was over, all the hubbub, and it's just not there anymore.
Yeah. I'm not sure what was up with that. I think they were getting goofed on by like pretty much everyone. So I feel like they were trying to take down all the videos that made them look like not a legitimate animation studio.
Which is apparent just by looking at it, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah. So anyway, you may have heard that, I don't know if you followed this story, that Critical got a strike on his channel
Yes.
for watching a road rage video.
Yes, I haven't seen the actual road rage video, but I saw Markiplier's video talking about it, and I saw all of Moist's tweets about
The Moist tweets.
Yeah.
Let's watch the video. It's been YouTube said we can watch this video now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, because they removed the strikes ultimately. It's pretty funny though. Let me tell the story before we watch this. So Charlie got a community strike for watching this video that we're going to watch. They said that it was shocking and violent. And so Charlie was like, yo, what the fuck? Markiplier reacted to the same video. He tweeted that. Kind of a snitch move, by the way, I have to say. Like, just straight up, kind of snitched on Mark.
I guess so. That sounds like something I would do, not realizing it's like a total snitch thing, but then they took down Markiplier's video.
Yeah, then they took down Mark's video. Well, when I saw that, I actually didn't expect them to take down Mark's video. He said, Markiplier made a video laughing about the same road rage instance. When will he be getting a strike at Team YouTube? Straight up snitched on him, dude. Like, damn. And so
he did a little bit.
YouTube's like, you're right. And then they fucking took down Mark's video and gave him a strike. Here, let me show.
Do you think that that's because there's like YouTube moderators that are just like regular people, right? That can report videos. Do you think that it was because so many people, it was brought to their attention and they just went and reported it that it got taken down?
Who knows what goes on back there? That's a pretty plausible explanation, I would say. Yeah,
I do think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just like,
Some people got to see that one, but they didn't.
And I can't see it, so you could say I should be more specific. I should look at just files and folders. And again, I'll try and search for that, and no, that doesn't appear. So documents only appear when you've opened them. So you can't just search for a document, it has to be a document that you have opened. So yeah, looking back at something I have opened, we can see I've got a couple of those MP3s there at the bottom. So Turn the Tide. Yeah, searching for that does bring up both the MP3 audio file and the folder it is in. So I could go across to the music scope, but it says there's no music on the computer. Are you sure? You literally brought up that search earlier. So that doesn't work. And it could be that that's just broken, not been fixed yet. But you're wrong in what you're saying there. There are pictures on the computer. There's both SVG files and PNG files here. So I think some more development work is needed. There's not been an official release of Unity 7 for 3 years. It's been on life support all this time. And in that time, GNOME has moved along. Yeah, things like Compiz really did enhance the look of the desktop. You can do some really fancy decorations on here. And I suppose it was Compiz that really got me into using Linux in the first place. It looked so much better than Windows XP did at the time. Look back at how the desktops were and the speed of Linux back at this time. This is sort of talking about I'm talking about like 2009 here. Yeah, this was amazing. But looking at it now, I don't know, I just don't feel the same way about it. I get some of these effects in the KDE desktop, and it moves a lot quicker as well. KDE is a lot more responsive these days. I think that's the point I want to make, that both GNOME and KDE have advanced quite a bit, and even they're going down the convergence route. So we're looking back at what we hated about Unity, and it's just the way the modern desktops are going these days. At least the applications are actually opening properly here. This is a snap-based application, and even the heads-up display works. Heads-up display in something like Inkscape and GIMP, where you've got all these extensions and filter menus, is really useful. I suppose not really worth looking at the number of applications installed on the system. My focus on this was really the desktop. There's still some discrepancies on some of the icons, but for the most part, it looks alright. Bit of an odd icon size there on VLC. So there used to be things like getting the weather. I think all that's gone, isn't it? I think that's how you used to do it. So yeah, the weather scope's missing. Now I do remember this feature about being able to customize the Unity launcher and some of the other settings on the desktop, such as the theming. I wanted to finish the video off in showing how desktops in Linux have progressed since the days of Unity. So I run KDE Plasma on my main system, and I've styled this to look vaguely like Unity. This is the style I really enjoyed using, and I want to point out here with like the document searching. The searcher in KDE has the capability to look at both documents and applications, and this was the file I was looking for, the file called File Permissions. Now I've not opened that at all, yet it's available to search from directly within KDE, so that's already a plus. Doing large file downloads from Firefox or Chrome shows a progress dialog within the icon, so I don't know if you can see it there, but it's a very thin green line. So yeah, that is a feature that is missing in Unity. Multimedia controls. So I've got play, pause, next and previous, and it also shows the progress of the song while it's playing. So what I can say is most of Ubuntu Unity does work. Some features that used to work no longer do, but at least like the animations look smooth, compiz didn't crash at all. So it is usable as desktop, but in my mind, is it as good as the likes of KDE and GNOME have become these days? And I think that is perhaps its downside. The world has moved on, but it has stayed in a place from 3 years ago. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.
I guess we're live, huh? Oh, I should have waited for a break in the song to start talking. What a missed opportunity. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's the stream looking? How's the stream sounding? Let's get this show on the road because the install is pretty long. It's pretty slow. Where's Teal? Teal might be in bed, to be honest. He's kind of my partner in these, huh? Sounding and looking good. That's what I like to see. I really should include Teal in on these streams. I've been thinking, I've been listening to a lot of radio shows lately, my favorite shows, and they always have a sidekick, you know, somebody that's there to kind of like riff off of. And I feel like I might need one. I can do this solo and I can chat with you guys and stuff, but I don't know. This stream is looking real neat with all the pumpy background music and clear audio. That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. So I do a sound check a couple hours before the Saturday stream, the Distro Delves live stream. And I do that sound check on Twitch, so if you want to drop in, hey Daniel, you made it to the stream. You only needed to stay up till 3:30 a.m. I'm sorry, bud. Anyway, yeah, so I do a sound check, and I spent some time figuring out the audio situation so that you guys can hear the music, and that the music is loud enough that it masks any background noise, but it doesn't overpower me. So I've got all that figured out. I should just make my password my name. Look at this Active Directory piece right here. There we go, now we're installing. Cool. So let's chat. So we got Farron is here, Drishal. I should enlarge this so I can actually see what's going on here. Can I do that without screwing the perspective up though? Kinda, yeah, this'll do. There. I've increased the size of chat so I can see you guys. So I'm watching the chat and the stream from a Firefox browser on the laptop. I originally tried with Brave, but Brave consumed so much CPU that it actually bogged down the stream. So it seems like Firefox is the way to go. I don't think it's a Brave issue, I think that it's a Chromium issue. Firefox is just, it's different and it works better for this. Oh boy, I need to start answering questions. Expectations for this 20.10, they're very low. It's worth pointing out that this will not become a Distro Delves episode. I've talked about using these streams as footage for episodes, and I'm not going to do it with this one because I don't like making episodes for beta. They're not representative of what the actual distro is, and they become stale and go out of date as soon as the actual distro is released. So I don't cover these. I'll do them in live streams so that, you know, we can hang out together and we can play with the distro, but I'm not going to make an episode out of it. Good evening from the UK. Hello, Jeff. Is Snap pre-installed? I think so. YouTube on Chromium uses a ton of CPU. Yeah, it's weird. I don't really know what's going on. You feel the presence of a certain someone having sent the link to this stream. I gotta get better at like reading these because sometimes I'm not a good read. I've talked about it. I have dyslexia and I don't read very well. So having to read the stream on the fly is already a flex for me, like as far as my personal capabilities, but that's something I need to improve on. No betas, no alphas sounds like a good policy. Hey El Snarko, I saw you this morning. It was good to see you. The sound check happens on Twitch every Saturday, a couple hours before this stream. So if you want to get a sneak peek of what we're going to be doing and test out stream settings with me, follow me over on Twitch. The link is somewhere on the channel, maybe in the description. I don't know. I've put it somewhere, I'm sure. Deep in 20 was an exception. Yeah. So maybe I should talk
Hello, my name is Ed Newton, pastor at Community Bible Church here in San Antonio, Texas. Today is a very significant, pivotal, historic date in our nation's history. As we look to the outcome of this election, our hearts may find themselves filled with anxiety of the unknown. But it's Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and following that remind us of where our hope lies. The Bible says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Can I just use a little bit of practical analogy here? Don't lean on the understanding of Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, or your political outlet filter of how we perceive the events of today. But instead lean in, press in to the Word of God, to the Spirit of God, to a God who's enthroned above the circle of the earth and who's in sovereign control of all the details. Listen to what the rest of this passage says. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, turn away from evil. It will be healing to your flesh, refreshment to your bones. And I'll just add this, it'll bring revival to our land. As the people of God, though we may have our opinion of who we would want to be in the Oval Office, we know this, that Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And so our allegiance is to him, our ultimate commander-in-chief. And as he works for our good and for his glory, I want to lead us in a time of prayer for peace over our nation and calm in our own souls, knowing that God is in control of all details. So let's pray together. God, we thank you that you are the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I thank you, God, that you're not up for vote. You rule and you reign with goodness and grace and benevolence and truth and justice. And God, I thank you that as you are maximizing your kingdom goodness through your people, I pray as the people of God that we would change the atmosphere of our nation to turn our attention back to you. Oh God, we do desire for you to bless America, but our prayer is that America would bless you. In Jesus' name, amen. Until we meet again, much love.
Like, you know, he'd been doing it for a while. And
How much older is your brother?
Bing, bang, 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 bang. I think we live. I think we live. We live. It's alive. It's alive. We live. All right, I had to copy and paste the description from the other thing.
Burning right through my eyes. Somehow I can still see. Children look like burnt paper. Black. Not moving. And then the blast wave hits them. And they fly apart like leaves.
Dreams, the end of the world, are very common.
It's not a dream anymore, it's real. I know the date it happens.
I'm sure it feels very real to you.
On August 29th, 1997, it's gonna feel pretty fucking real to you, too. Anybody not wearing 2 million sunblock is gonna have a real bad day, get it? Good, you think you're safe and alive? You're already dead, everybody. Him, you're dead already. This whole place, everything you see is blood. You're the one living in a fucking dream, because I know it happens. It's happening!
There once was a future in which humankind was hunted by a machine that could think, and Terminators built to kill. A future without hope. That future never happened because I stopped it. To protect my son. And to save us all.
Let me play a little backtrack just to make it sound a little bit more tight. It probably has too much low end. It's a little boomy, like around 200 or something. And I don't want to spend a decade mixing because that could take the fun out of this track. So I might do more vocal stuff. Technically boring, not fun to watch. 200 hertz. And it's minuscule stuff like chopping out 200 hertz on the kick or something. NBA young boy. Y'all want to do a young NBA boy?
I just want to cover something in a video real quick. Just take a few minutes.
So traditionally we're taught not to add compression to drums and all this weird stuff.
19th.
When you're mixing other genres outside of like trap that's already super like loud, compression is like the most important thing. So I'll try a couple things. One thing is cleaning up the kick. Another thing is running the drums through a bus. Let me see how my drums are routed. Let me see. It might be overcomplicating stuff here. Yeah, because then I have to reroute the kick to a group. We'll figure it out. Hold up.
And open it in. Version that we've gone ahead and downloaded, and we are in the live environment right.
Now I think think the plugin has built-in compression. We're going to take that off
100%
so we can add our
that you're
own.
being honest.
It's going to mute the compression.
You promise? I promise.
Ed just wants to resolve this so he can eat his dinner. I'm kidding. I'm
like how you stopped for a few seconds and then just continued.
Yes. Yes, he says yes.
After speaking the rose,
Still lying.
I am 100% sure that you're being honest. You promise? I promise.
Ed just wants to resolve this so he can eat his dinner. I'm kidding. I'm
like how you stopped for a few seconds and then just continued.
Yes. Yes, he says yes.
After speaking the rose,
Still lying.
So weird,
100% sure in my heart that she's not involved.
Who does that shit?
Just by the way she reacted, I'm feeling like I can completely trust Rose. But I don't trust her sister. So what are we going to do about your sister?
Kill her!
I talked to her about this.
All right, you can do that too, I
ask you a
guess.
favor?
But
Can you and I speak to her together? I am 100% sure that you're being honest.
you promise?
I promise.
Ed just wants to resolve this so he can eat his dinner. I'm kidding. I'm
like how you stopped for a few seconds and then just continued.
Yes. Yes, he says.
Yeah, so I'm actually on the, so it's at bed sleeping over here. And you can hear it. Here, let me back it up real quick. So it's at 27. Turn it up. You hear it? Yeah, I always make sure my door is closed properly. This isn't the only time this has happened.
Once, I saved 3 billion lives. But I couldn't save my son. A machine took him from me. And I am terminated. Took him from me. And I am terminated.
No mames. Ya sé, ya sé. Yo siento lo mismo.
¿Te vas a quedar así? ¡Vamos!
¿Está bien?
Apenas. ¿Qué vamos a hacer con ella?
No sé.
¡No se muevan!
¡Quieto ahí! Oficial, solo estamos tratando de ayudar a la muchacha.
Okay, welcome to another video. So today we're...
Ni la conocemos.
Ok. ¿Qué pedo, güey?
¿Qué le diste?
Nada. Así la encontramos, se cayó del puente.
Claro. Me encanta cuando llueven señoritas encueradas. Vamos.
¡Suéltalo!
¡Híjole! Eso estuvo padrísimo, güey. Thanks, lady. You just saved our asses.
Don't thank me yet.
¡Gringa!
Vamos.
Dame la mano, está lastimada.
Buenos días, mona.
Ay, siempre con tus flores.
Siempre.
¿Quieres tu tortita de tamal?
Ándale, le llevo una a Diego. Le robo un manguito, ¿eh?
Claro.
Buenos días.
Hola, Dani.
Hola. Hey, little brother. Good morning. I brought tamales Anatole.
Uf, qué rico. Oye, Besto.
Ah,
147 likes. Pronto voy a pasar a Bruno Mars, ¿eh?
Well, if you want to be big in America, you would say.
I'm going to pass Bruno Mars. Pronto?
Good. Let's go.
Okay. Taquito, ¿qué piensas? ¿Este o no? ¿Sí o no?
Te dejo el desayuno ahí en la mesa.
Ajá.
Y acuérdate que tienes cita en el médico de la espalda a mediodía.
Ay, no me hace falta, Dani.
Ah, pero ¿por qué eres tan terco?
Pues porque nací así. Nací hace un poco tarde para cambiar, ¿no crees?
¿Cómo que está rico el tamalito?
Gracias.
Toma, pa.
Hey, buenos días.
Let's go, Diego. We're running late.
Dale, hijo.
A mediodía, pa.
Sí.
Mua. Y trae huevos cuando regreses.
¿Tú mandas?
Ya, taquito.
Me sabes bien cuidar, me sabes bien guiar, no lo haces muy bien tú, ser muy buena es tu virtud.
Hola, Julia.
Julia, justo estaba pensando en ti.
¿Así? ¿Qué pensabas? Diego, lo siento, ¿eh? Vamos.
Perdón, es que mi hermano. Something going.
Yeah, I saw it.
Come on, you think I was flirting with her too much?
I think all the parts where you were talking were too much.
Funny.
Buenos días.
Ay, cállate, Taco, no seas pesado, anda.
Sí, buenas.
¿En qué le puedo ayudar?
Se encuentra Daniela Ramos. Soy un amigo de ella.
¿En serio? Qué extraño. Sus amigos la llaman Dani.
Dani. Sí, claro.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, ¿cómo estás?
Bien.
¿Qué pasa, hey. Chale. There's a new guy at my station.
I see that.
Un robot. Qué chido, ¿eh?
Señor Sánchez, what's going on?
¿El futuro? Diego, Craig quiere hablar contigo en su oficina.
Sí.
I'll go. Take my spot.
No, él no pidió hablar contigo, ¿eh?
Yo sé.
Discúlpeme, señor.
¿Sí?
Mis hijos olvidaron su comida otra vez. Dani Ramos.
How's the game?
Las reglas están claras, amigo. Casco, chaleco. Así no te puedo dejar entrar. Ni modo.
Entiendo.
Please, Mr. Grummet. It's my brother.
But Danny, he ain't you.
What's next? 3,000 people out there. What happens if I tell them they're just keeping a spot worm for some machine?
Ojalá y sí, así puedo dedicarte a la música. Sí, las rolas. ¿Qué hace aquí tu jefe? ¿Qué hace aquí, jefe?
Te olvidaste tu comida, mijo.
Pero si le empacó Dani.
¿Dónde está Dani?
Está con el gringo. Me quiere reemplazar por esa pinche máquina.
¿Cuándo va a regresar?
No sé.
Ahí está.
That is not your father. That is a machine that was sent here to kill you. Hey, go! You come with me or you're dead in the next 30 seconds. Come on! ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué es eso? Who are you? I'm the person saving your life.
There's a new guy at my station.
I see that.
Un robot. Qué chido, ¿eh?
Señor Sánchez, what's going on?
¿El futuro? Diego, Craig quiere hablar contigo en su oficina.
Sí.
I'll go. Take my spot.
No, él no pidió hablar contigo, ¿eh?
Yo sé.
Discúlpeme, señor.
¿Sí?
Mis hijos olvidaron su comida otra vez. Dani Ramos.
That's the game.
Las reglas están claras, amigo. Casco, chaleco. Así no te puedo dejar entrar. Ni modo.
Entiendo.
Please, Mr. Grummet. It's my brother.
But Danny, he ain't you.
What's next? 3,000 people out there. What happens if I tell them they're just keeping a spot worm for some machine?
Ojalá y sí, así puedo dedicarte a la música. Sí, las rolas. ¿Qué hace aquí tu jefe? ¿Qué hace aquí, jefe?
Te olvidaste tu comida, mijo.
Pero si le empacó Dani.
¿Dónde está Dani?
Está con el gringo. Me quiere reemplazar por esa pinche máquina.
¿Cuándo va a regresar?
No sé.
Ahí está.
That is not your father. That is a machine that was sent here to kill you. Hey, go! You come with me or you're dead in the next 30 seconds. Come on! ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué es eso? Who are you? I'm the person saving your life.
Look, I know everyone's a little miffed we couldn't do Vegas this year.
All that matters is that we're celebrating together to a night we'll never forget.
One more time.
Where the hell are we?
You are on your way to the games. 3, 2, 1.
Let the killing begin. It's time for the Hungover Games.
What a crop of freakazoids.
I just watched Django get cursed up by a teddy bear. Oh!
I'm not a racist. I got like 8 black guys on my fantasy football team.
Can't fault you there.
Next up, we have the Real Housewives of District 8.
What up, bitches? If it isn't the popular girls.
I think I smell an alliance.
You know, I'm 17.
La, 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 la. Does my head look weird? No. Your body's super tiny. It is?
They need to know that you can take a punch.
Why, dude? Why?
I don't know. I forgot why we're even doing this. Oh, snap.
Took my little sister's place.
That was stupid.
You have a little sister?
It's hard being superior to every person on the planet. God should not have to feel that kind of pain.
You slipped Compound V to terrorists all over the globe to get
not really going to be focusing on a distribution as such. Instead, we're going Okay, welcome to another video. So today we're not really going to be focusing on a distribution as such. Instead, we're going to focus our attention onto a GNOME extension called Material Shell, which I've heard. Okay, welcome to another video. So today we're not really going to be focusing on a distribution as such. Instead, we're going to focus our attention onto a GNOME extension called Material Shell, which I've heard and read quite a lot about in these past couple of days, and I've been meaning to get around to checking it out. So that's what we're going to do for this video for the very first time. Now, as long as you're running GNOME, you can go ahead and use this yourself, but you need to be using at least version 3.34. So there's a few ways you can install it. Now, the first way, which is to install it from GNOME extensions, is probably the easiest, because Okay, welcome to another video. So today we're not really going to be focusing on a distribution as such. Instead, we're going to focus our attention onto a GNOME extension called Material Shell, which I've heard and read quite a lot about in these past couple of days, and I've been meaning to get around to checking it out. So that's what we're going to do for this video for the very first time. Now, as long as you're running GNOME, you can go ahead and use this yourself, but you need to be using at least version 3.34. So there's a few ways you can install it. Now, the first way, which is to install it from GNOME extensions, is probably the easiest, because it will work across pretty much all of the distributions. But if you're on Arch or Fedora, you can install it through the package managers DNF or Yay. And then, of course, to get the most up-to-date version, you could jump over to GitHub. Now, reading the website, there appears to be quite a lot of unique and interesting features that have all been wrapped into one extension, which has the potential, from what I've read, to pretty much change the entire way you use your GNOME desktop. So some of these features are the spatial model, which is a natural and predictable organization where all windows are organized in a grid. So the interface is designed to give an at-a-glance view of the spatial model state and allow you to navigate with a mouse or on a touchscreen. Unfortunately, I don't have a touchscreen that we can use for this video, so we can't check that out, which is a bit annoying because I'd be interested to see how you'd interact with everything with the touchscreen. But nevertheless, tiling. So it has Windows tiling baked straight into it as well. So tiling engine automatically arrange the applications window in a predictable and mutually non-overlapping disposition. You'd also have persistence, so that will help you retrieve your favorite layouts and Windows organizations after a reboot. And of course, there are some keyboard shortcuts for you to interact with it as opposed to just the mouse and touchscreen. So I do believe we can jump into the hotkeys from there. So we might keep this web page open so we can see what's what. I'm going to imagine they will have a section in the settings of the actual extension itself, though, that's going to have all of these hotkeys. So what we're going to do is jump over to the extensions website, type in Material Shell, and it'll be the very, very first result that you get. And we're going to go ahead and install. Okay, so it's already changed everything up from what we just saw. So we have a left panel still, so that's replaced the Ubuntu dock on the left. And then we have a panel up the top. To the right, I do believe this is a layout switcher. It is indeed. We shall go through all of that in just a moment. And then to the left, we have a little plus button, which is going to open up, okay, a new sort of application launcher. So if we was to open up files, it would then open this up in a full screen view, which I guess you can just switch to and from your Windows title bars like that. Okay, that's pretty nice. And it has a nice smooth animation from left to right. So let's check out this bar now. So on your left panel here, it's moved all of your sort of system tray, clock, battery, etc. all the way to the bottom, as opposed to being at the top right on your standard GNOME desktop. Now at the top you have the search button, which is going to open up basically the overview of GNOME. And then if we was to type something like Gedit and hit enter, it would then open up that application. And of course we are in a particular view at the moment, so we will go through every view and see how it organizes everything one by one as well. So we then have a little plus button here. So I guess pressing that will then open up another fresh workspace, I'm going to call that. Again with the same application launcher with the search bar at the top. So let's open up the Ubuntu software store. Okay, it's not open it up. Let's just click that and see if that wants to open it up. There we go. I think that might be a snap actually. That might be why that software store took so long to open. Okay, so it now gives you a little icon there of the current window that is focused. So let's say if we go into a different window in here and open up, let's open up Firefox once more and then go back. So it's given you like a sort of a World Web kind of icon there. I thought it might have given you the actual Firefox icon, but it doesn't appear to be, at least in this theme that we've got. Okay. Right, so I do believe that's pretty much the basics of the layout. So now let's check everything else out. So we're currently in a full screen view for each window that opens. So let's say we wanted to switch to this window snapping kind of view, which is going to do it side by side. Can we use a drag and drop with the mouse? We can indeed, that's pretty handy. And can we have it specific to each workspace? So on this workspace we're on the split. Can we go down here and have it in full screen still? We can indeed. So I can see that being very useful. Let's say you've got your calendar open on one pane here as well as your email client, and then you have say LibreOffice Writer in your full screen view here. You could then just jump in between them and do your work like that, and that would be very handy if you've only got a single monitor as well. So perfect for a laptop actually. So let's see what the keyboard shortcuts are to see how easy it is to navigate without using the touchpad now. So let's go back over here. We'll go through all the extension settings in a moment as well. So here we go, hotkeys. So Super and W to navigate to the upper workspace. So I guess these are our workspaces on the left here. And then Super A and D. So it uses sort of like the gaming keys, W, A, S and D. So Super A and D will focus the window from the left of the current window. So let's give that a go. So we are on the very left. So let's go for the right one, which will be Super and D. There we go. And again, brilliant. And then when you've got more than one window on one thing, it will then go between them windows, like kind of like that, I guess. Wow, that's really cool. So I'm using the upwards and down as well. Right, so let's just try some little workflows out. So we've got a two-panel sort of view here, and we've got, let's imagine we've got an email client. No, let's imagine we've got Writer Office just underneath this. So we've got an email client and our calendar in this view. And then we need to quickly reference something out of this email into a document like so. And then we could just go WS. Okay, that's a pretty nice sort of default keyboard shortcuts. I'm sure you can edit them, but as someone who quite often has his hand on the sort of W, A, S and D position, I could get quite used to that. So again, W, Super and S will go down, Super and W will go up, and then Super, S and A will be your note, Super, what is it, Super D and A. So Super D and A will be your left to right motions in your windows. Okay, that's very cool. And then of course to kill an application it will be Super and Q. So let's kill Writer. Get it? No, we are currently in Firefox. So if we wanted to kill Get It, we'd go to the right, which is Super and D, and then Super and Q, like so. Perfect. And again, what that will then do when you're in the split view, which is what we are currently on, it will then to the right of the window that's not got anything there, it will have the sort of application launcher once again with the search bar as well. And then again, you could just jump into Files, hit Enter, and that will open it up in the split view. That's really, really quite cool the way it does that. Okay, let's check out another view. Right, so this appears to be a different kind of tiling. So let's check out how this all works now. So let's open up a terminal. Perfect, so that's now tiling things like sort of to the right of a sort of horizontal there. Let's go again. Nice, so that will tile things like so. So then let's quit a few of these. And again, that can be independent of a workspace. So on this workspace here, and we do have the Firefox icon there as well. So we can still be in the full screen or whatever view that we want to be in here. And then jumping up here, we can have it in there. That's really cool. So does that... Okay, so then pressing that plus has opened that up again to a fresh new one. And then let's also open up a terminal again. Nice. And then if we go back, so this is how you're going to go between your workspaces, your windows, focus and unfocus, when you don't want to use Super A and W. Okay, that's probably my favourite sort of grid so far, or layout. So then we have, that looks like a little aeroplane, so I'm going to imagine this is going to be floating, or some just, yep, looks like a floating window to me. And that should be resizable. It is indeed. One thing I didn't check out while we was in the sort of tiling view here is I wonder if we can resize it with just a simple mouse drag and drop. Can we get a little arrow? There we go. No, so that could be something that hopefully they could implement in the future, because it would be really handy to be able to resize the windows with your mouse as well. But so far I'm really enjoying this. Right, what we're going to do then is close a lot of this up. Cool. So then when you've got nothing on the screen, your default sort of empty workspace is going to be the full screen application launcher. Now let's go into the extensions package. Do I have the extensions package on this minimal install? I don't. So what we're going to quickly do is open up a terminal and install Gnome Tweaks, because I want to check out the actual settings of this now, because I do believe I read somewhere that you can have gaps with your tiling. Okay, let's open up Tweaks. And let's see what some of the settings that we can do are. So if we go into the actual extension settings here, material shell, press that little cog, and let's move this to the left to get the full screen kind of larger window for that. Brilliant. So in global settings you can change the theming. So we're currently on dark. They also have a light, which is not my cup of tea. I'm not really a light theme guy. But again, if you like light themes, you'll be happy to have that all baked within the actual settings of the extension. And then primary, which has changed the colour to a blue, but I do believe that might correspond with the primary colour there. I could be wrong. Let's go back to dark and change our primary colour. So at the moment our search button is blue, so I'm going to guess if we was to change this to red, it would then change that to red. It does indeed. Okay, I'm going to leave it on the red. I quite like that. Okay, so now we have panel sizing. So as a default it's 48 in size. It doesn't appear to have a different size for both panels, so it looks like they're all within this one sizing. So let's give it a go. So let's go for a lower. Oh, it doesn't want to do that. I think we might have our first crash of the video. Yeah, it's kind of crashed on there. It's not. And now the extension's reloading. Okay, hopefully that has actually worked. So let's go back into tweaks now. So we do have a little error message here, but this could just be Ubuntu playing up, so we're not going to worry about that too much. Let's just close that and reload the extensions here. Oh, we've got it here. Let's just close this a minute. There we go. Right, let's get back into those settings and carry on where we left off. Right, let's drag that back there like so. So it has made it go smaller, so hopefully now that it's sort of refreshed itself, we can actually, there we go, brilliant. And as you can see, both panels are changing their size there. So that's basically like a global panel size. You don't have individual sizing for each panel, which is not too bad to be fair. I'm going to leave it on size 38. So what else have we got? Panel opacity, so we can change the sort of transparency of the panels. So let's chuck 75 on here. So at the moment it's quite a dark colour. If this works, it will sort of go a different colour. Foxes. It will go a different colour and you'll see a bit of the wallpaper shine through. There we go, so that's worked very easily. We then have surface opacity, which will change the opacity of panels or other UI elements. So let's just chuck that on 75 as well. Nice. We can also blur the background, so let's get a bit of blur. And we can get some cycle through windows action, but I'm not too worried about that. But if you did want to know, you can cycle back to the first when trying to navigate past the last window. That could be quite interesting then, so let's give that a go now. So what we've done is we've enabled this, so the last window here is currently Gnome. So what that should do then is if we press Super and D, we should be able to get to the terminal, and then if we press Super and D again, it should go straight back to Material Shell. Right, so it will then go to 1+, so let's do that again. So we could press a plus button or the enter, and then it would open it up, but then we could go D again, and it'll bring you straight back to the first one in your window. Actually, that's not too bad. I might leave that there, and it might even be quite useful for workspaces. So let's enable that with workspaces as well. Okay, so shortcuts. So you do have a little place here where you can edit the default shortcuts, but for the most part, I'm going to leave them by the defaults because they seem pretty sane. And like I said, I often will have my left hand always sort of near the WASD area anyway, so I can kind of deal with that. So to move windows to different workspaces, let's have a look. Move the current window left, so move the current window to an upper workspace. So let's say we wanted this window on this workspace, so it would be Super Shift and S. So Super Shift S. Brilliant. So now that's really cool because we are currently in the full screen view here. Let's say if you very quickly wanted to see something in a more of a full screen view, and you've got the full screen view enabled in here, but you're currently in the sort of tiling view in here, you could then just go boom, and then there you go, you've got your full screen application. And now say you want the application open again on the same screen but in your tiling mode, boom. That's really cool. I'm really enjoying that. Okay, very nice indeed. So where's our gnome tweak settings gone? Getting too excited. Right, okay. So that's all the sort of shortcuts there. So layout, we appear to have some additional layouts that we can enable, so I'll do that towards the end and we'll have a very brief look at all of them. So what I want to do then is jump into the tiling settings and let's see what we can do with the gaps now in order to get some gaps around the borders of the windows when it's in the tiling view. So by default it's on 0. I'm going to chuck an 8 there, and I'm also going to enable that and chuck an 8 there as well. Right, I'm not sure whether this will work out of the box, but let's give it a go without a reboot. We're not in the tiling view, are we? So let's go back up here. There we go, perfect. As you can see there, we've done it. We didn't need to log in or log out. It's happened pretty much instantly, and as you can see, we've got some gaps around the windows now. So if we open up another window, as you can see, gaps all around. Very nice indeed. I'm really liking this so far. And of course, we can just super and cue that all out of the way. Brilliant. Right, what I want to do now then is check out just sort of how crazy we can go with the workspaces on the left here and see how these other layouts work as well. So let's jump into a different workspace now and let's open up. Maybe I shouldn't have downloaded the minimal install. Maybe we should have went crazy and downloaded the full install. Okay, so it kind of doesn't look like GNOME until you press super, and then you're very quickly reminded that you are still in GNOME because you get to the sort of overview here that we're all going to be familiar with. But other than that, you could almost be convinced that this is in sort of a desktop environment of its own, to be honest with you. Right, let's add another workspace. Let's go for Firefox, and let's go for Files, and let's go for one more, and let's just get a terminal open there. Right, so what I wanted to check out now is the cycle to the last one. So again, it's Super and S, I do believe it is indeed. So once we get past this space, it then should cycle all the way back to the first workspace. Perfect. I'm really liking this. So now let's open up some more programs in this sort of tiling view. So let's go for a terminal in here again and see how that's going to arrange that. So that's opened it up, the one that we've currently got. So if we can just move this up now with Super, Shift and W all the way to the top, bang, and it's tiled it perfectly with the gaps, and it just fluid, animations are quick. I'm really enjoying this. Right, so we wanted to check out some final layouts before we wrapped it up there. I've also taken a screenshot of the RAM usage before I actually installed this, because I'm quite intrigued to see how much this might affect your RAM usage at a fresh boot. So let's go back into the tweaks now and go back into our GNOME extension settings. We might have it even open somewhere. Here we go. So let's go on to layouts. So by default, your default ones are, and you can change the default layout. So the default is maximized, which that means is when you open a new one, the default layout is going to be maximized. But say you wanted the default layout to be the tiling that we're currently on this window here, workspace here. Nope. I'm losing track of my workspaces. Anyway, let's say you wanted your default workspace to be the tiling one. So what you would do then is go into your default layout and chuck that on. I do believe it's called half. So that's now on half. So if we open up a new workspace and then open up, let's say, files. Okay, I can see that it hasn't actually taken effect there. It has now though, so as you can see, it's now working with the default tiling workspace. So if we open up files, and even this sort of shadow behind it is also kind of tiled in a way. That's pretty cool. And then again, let's open up a terminal. So as you can see, you can really granularly control how you're actually going to interact with your desktop here. I really dig it. Okay, let's check out some of these additional workspaces anyway. So the default ones, of course, are maximize, split, float and half. We also have half horizontal, which will tile windows horizontally, and we have a tile vertically. So let's check all of these ones. So let's enable all of this. So we have a ratio one as well, which will set the size of according to the ratio value. At default is 0.62. We're going to leave that like that. We then have a grid, simple, which is split screen undirectionally according to screen ratio. Let's go for that one as well. And then we have simple horizontal and simple vertical. So let's enable all of these, and we're just going to cycle through them one by one now. So we're on the full screen, which is maximize. Split is up next, which is going to be pretty much a standard window snapping side by side. Now let's go to, oh wow, look at that. I like that. That's really cool. So let's say we wanted to open up another thing. How's that going to organise another terminal there? Nice. That's really cool. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, I think we've seen that one already, and that's pretty similar to the one we just saw. Okay, so this appears to have a more sort of horizontal split there with a load of windows split vertically at the bottom there. So if we open up another terminal, it's going to, yep, very nice. And I do believe this is the ratio view according to the ratio, and again, drag and drop, you should be able to move and resize things. Again, it would be cool if we could resize it properly with a mouse. That would be very cool. And then back to the floating, which means you can grab something, move it wherever you want, and then let's just jump straight back into a different tiling view. Brilliant. Right, what we're going to do is check out the perseverance, which I do believe that's what they call it, which is where it saves your sort of desktop layout. So we're going to do a fresh reboot, see if how it does actually do that sort of layout remembering, and then we're going to do one final reboot to check out the RAM, and then we're going to wrap it up there. Okay, so we've just booted back up, and this is how it's going to remember things. So it doesn't automatically open everything, which is probably quite handy actually, because it might send your sort of startup time a bit crazy. But what it does is it remembers which applications were open, and then gives you a little sort of icon there, and it will do that for every application across all of your workspaces, so it can get pretty crazy. And then you could click things one by one, and it would open that up like so. Brilliant. Right, what we're going to have to go ahead and do is close all of this and then get a fresh RAM reading at boot, because I don't want to sort of give it any handicaps from when we didn't have the application installed. But we will compare the RAM usage before and after. So as I say, I've already took a before shot, so I know how much RAM we were using before we installed the extension, and that is all I have done on this fresh install of Ubuntu. We've only installed the extension as well as HTOP and Chrome GNOME Shell, so nothing else has been altered. So let's close all of this now. And there's a lot. There probably is a way to close all of your... Oh, we can just do Super and Q as well, can't we? There we go. There's probably a way that you can do a close all if you want to set the keyboard shortcuts up, but that's been quick enough. Right, I'm going to pause the video here, and we're going to come back and see how much RAM we are using at boot, and then compare it to before we installed this extension. Okay, we're back. So let's remember the terminal was open, which is handy because that's what we're going to use anyway. So let's go straight to HTOP, and I'm going to give it a few seconds, perhaps about 30. Once it gets to uptime of 30, I'm then going to leave it, and we're going to take the RAM reading from that. So it's currently on 1 GB, and we're fast approaching the sort of 30ish seconds that I had it on. So I think we're going to look at about 1 GB there. I'm not sure if it's going to get any lower. Let's go to memory and see what's taking that up. So GNOME Shell is at the very top there. Okay, so I do believe that's given us a couple of extra MB at boot. So let's check out what we was on beforehand. So I have taken a screenshot. I hope I have saved it. So if we go into pictures, we should have a screenshot somewhere of before we done anything. So as you can see, by default, with an uptime of about 39 seconds, that's why I let the the second window go up by about 30 seconds. We was on 800 megabytes of RAM at boot, so we're looking at a slight increase there of having that extension running. So as I said, we was on 800 at boot before, and after we was hovering around the 1 GB size. So I think it's worth the additional overhead there in RAM because it's not too crazy. And again, I reckon if I'd done another reboot, I'd probably get it even lower than that. In fact, I've got an idea. Because we rebooted in the terminal, that meant that it tried to remember the window that was open. So what I'm going to do is reboot in the GUI and see if that changes anything, because then it won't be trying to remember any layouts. Perhaps that's the better way of doing it. So let's do that now. Okay, so we've just gotten back from a fresh reboot, so it's not tried to remember anything, including the terminal that we had open when we reboot. So now let's open up a terminal, open up HTOP, and already it is lower, so it definitely did affect the RAM reading that we just took. So we're going to throw that one out and we're going to judge it from here. So already, yeah, much better. So you're looking at roughly about 95 megabytes extra there, although it has just dropped down. I'm going to say about 90 megabytes, which, to be fair, when you consider how many additional features you do get within that extension, that's nothing really when you consider everything that it's doing. So final thoughts then. This could be the extension that gets me back onto GNOME desktop full time, to be honest with you. I think this is brilliant. I definitely recommend people trying it out, so I'll leave a link in the description to the Material Shell website. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe and join the Discord. There'll be a link in the description. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye. Okay, welcome to another video. So today we're not really going to be focusing on a distribution as such. Instead, we're going to focus our attention onto a GNOME extension called Material Shell, which I've heard and read quite a lot about in these past couple of days, and I've been meaning to get around to checking it out. So that's what we're going to do for this video for the very first time. Now, as long as you're running GNOME, you can go ahead and use this yourself, but you need to be using at least version 3.34. So there's a few ways you can install it. Now, the first way, which is to install it from GNOME extensions, is probably the easiest because it will work across pretty much all of the distributions. But if you're on Arch or Fedora, you can install it through the package managers DNF or Yay. And then, of course, to get the most up-to-date version, you could jump over to GitHub. Now, reading the website, there appears to be quite a lot of unique and interesting features that have all been wrapped into one extension, which has the potential, from what I've read, to pretty much change the entire way you use your GNOME desktop. So some of these features are the spatial model, which is a natural and predictable organization where all windows are organized in a grid. So the interface is designed to give an at-a-glance view of the spatial model state and allow you to navigate with the mouse or on a touchscreen. Unfortunately, I don't have a touchscreen that we can use for this video, so we can't check that out, which is a bit annoying because I'd be interested to see how you'd interact with everything with the touchscreen. But nevertheless, tiling. So it has Windows tiling baked straight into it as well. So tiling engine automatically arrange the applications window in a predictable and mutually non-overlapping disposition. You'd also have persistence, so that will help you retrieve your favorite layouts on Windows organizations after a reboot. And of course, there are some keyboard shortcuts for you to interact with it as opposed to just the mouse and touchscreen. So I do believe we can jump into the hotkeys from there. So we might keep this web page open so we can see what's what. I'm going to imagine they will have a section in the settings of the actual extension itself though that's going to have all of these hotkeys. So what we're going to do is jump over to the extensions website, type in Material Shell, and it'll be the very first result that you get. And we're going to go ahead and install. Okay, so it's already changed everything up from what we just saw. So we have a left panel still, so that's replaced the Ubuntu dock on the left, and then we have a panel up the top. To the right, I do believe this is a layout switcher. It is indeed. We shall go through all of that in just a moment. And then to the left, we have a little plus button which is going to open up, okay, a new sort of application launcher. So if we was to open up files, it would then open this up in a full screen view, which I guess you can just switch to and from your Windows title bars like that. Okay, that's pretty nice, and it has a nice smooth animation from left to right. So let's check out this bar now. So on your left panel here, it's moved all of your sort of system tray, clock, battery, etc. all the way to the bottom, as opposed to being at the top right on your standard GNOME desktop. Now at the top you have the search button, which is going to open up basically the overview of GNOME, and then if we was to type something like gedit and hit enter, it would then open up that application. And of course we are in a particular view at the moment, so we will go through every view and see how it organizes everything one by one as well. So we then have a little plus button here, so I guess pressing that will then open up another fresh workspace, I'm going to call that, again with the same application launcher with the search bar at the top. So let's open up the Ubuntu software store. Okay, it's not opening up. Let's just click that and see if that wants to open it up. There we go. I think that might be a snap actually. That might be why that software store took so long to open. Okay, so it now gives you a little icon there of the current window that is focused. So let's say if we go into a different window in here and open up, let's open up Firefox once more and then go back. So it's given you like a sort of a World Web kind of icon there. I thought it might have given you the actual Firefox icon, but it doesn't appear to be, at least in this theme that we've got. Okay. Right, so I do believe that's pretty much the basics of the layout. So now let's check everything else out. So we're currently in a full screen view for each window that opens. So let's say we wanted to switch to this window snapping kind of view, which is going to do it side by side. Can we use a drag and drop with the mouse? We can indeed, that's pretty handy. And can we have it specific to each workspace? So on this workspace we're on the split. Can we go down here and have it in full screen still? We can indeed. So I can see that being very useful. Let's say you've got your calendar open on one pane here as well as your email client, and then you have, say, LibreOffice Writer in your full screen view here. You could then just jump in between them and do your work like that, and that would be very handy if you've only got a single monitor as well. So perfect for a laptop actually. So let's see what the keyboard shortcuts are to see how easy it is to navigate without using the touchpad now. So let's go back over here. We'll go through all the extension settings in a moment as well. So here we go, hotkeys. So Super and W to navigate to the upper workspace. So I guess these are our workspaces on the left here. And then Super A and D. So it uses sort of like the gaming keys, W, A, S and D. So Super A and D will focus the window from the left of the current window. So let's give that a go. So we are on the very left. So let's go for the right one, which will be Super and D. There we go. And again, brilliant. And then when you've got more than one window on one thing, it will then go between them windows, like kind of like that, I guess. Wow, that's really cool. So I'm using the upwards and down as well. Okay, what we're going to do today is install the very new remix of Ubuntu 20.04 Unity.
Hello again everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's a big day. It's kind of like a holiday in the Linux community when your favorite distribution, or one of your favorite distributions in my case, releases a new version. And today is especially important because the latest version of Ubuntu is not only out, today's release of Ubuntu 20.04 is an LTS or long-term supported release. So this is a bigger deal than normal when it comes to Ubuntu releases. And we're going to go ahead and check it out in this video right here, right now. Now, before we get started, I just want to address the elephant in the room if you didn't see my other video. Yes, this is a new studio I'm recording from. Now, nothing is final yet. The audio, the video, the lighting, the layout of everything. You know, I wasn't actually going to record in this setup yet, but I just couldn't wait. I wanted to give it a shot. And then we'll see how the video and audio quality is if I need to make any adjustments. But go ahead and pardon any technical difficulties in this video. I hope it turns out good. I guess we'll go ahead and see when we get this uploaded. But for right now, let's go ahead and dive into Ubuntu 20.04. I'm really excited to check this out. So here it is, installed on my ThinkPad T480S. No particular reason I chose this one, it's just the laptop I had closest to me when I decided to do this. Actually, I've already been playing around with this, so I'm not new to having this installed on this laptop, but I did go ahead and wipe it and reload it because I've been using Ubuntu 20.04 during the beta phase up until now, running some various experiments. I actually went ahead and installed the System76 Pop! OS Tiling Window Manager extension on 20.04 in a previous video. So that was actually the first time you saw 20.04 on my channel, but today it's actually out and it's time to check out the final version. And you know what? I have a lot of thoughts. There's a lot to go over here. This is a big release. And I'm not going to be able to cover everything, but I'm going to mention all the things that I feel are important, or things that I've noticed, or just cool things to look out for, things I like, things I dislike, things like that. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So what you see right here is the default desktop, the default wallpaper. This is a fresh installation, so I didn't make any changes. Now, speaking of the installation, I did go through the installation process in a different video, so I'm not going to show you all of that again here. But basically, when it comes to the installer, it's business as usual. There's nothing really changed, except for there's an advanced features option. That gives you an option to use ZFS, which is considered an experimental feature. ZFS is just awesome, and the integration in 2004 is actually really good. Even though it's considered experimental, the features are awesome in that it takes snapshots when you do things like install your updates, so that way you have a snapshot to go back to in case something goes wrong with that. I think that's really, really awesome. But again, it's experimental. It's not something that I recommend everybody use, and it does cause your system to use more RAM than it normally would use. So keep that in mind if you have
Cosmic.
I got those goosebumps every time, yeah. I need a Heimlich, throw it to.
All that I want in this life is the chance to do my thing.
bitches bad and bullshit. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30 niggas is under me. Introduce me to your bitches. White.
Round two. All set. Records on records, got backers on backers. I'm riding around in a cool. I take your beat right from you. Bitch, I'm a dog. Beat down her walls. Loose. Hop in the fall. I tell that bitch to come for me. I swear these niggas is under me. The hate and the devil keep jumping me. Back rows on me, keep me company. Hey, we did the most. Yeah, pull up and goes. Yeah, my diamonds a choker. Holding up, I with no holster. With the ruler, diamond cooler. This a roller, not a mule. Dabbing on them like the usual. Magic with the brick do voodoo. Court side with a bad bitch. Then I send the bitch through Uber. I'm young and rich and plus I'm bougie. I'm not stupid, so I keep the Uzi. Records on records, got backers on backers, so my money making my back ache. You niggas got a low act rate. We from the north, yeah, that way. Fat cookie blunt in the ashtray. Two bitches just national smash day. Hop in the limb, have a drag race. I let them birds take a bath, babe. Raindrop, drop top, smoking on cooking the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, dot. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you with my bitch. Bad and bullshit. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. Got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. Got 30s and 100 rounds too.
She gon' eat your heart out, make you fall in love and knock you out. Cause she bad, she bad. She gon' make you tap out when the leather straps gon' come out. Cause she bad, yeah she bad. Couple $1,000 on the black on black products. But she's bad, she bad. Never let your mama beat her if you don't want drama. Cause she's bad, she's bad.
My bitch is bad. My bitch is bad. My bitch is bad and bullshit. My bitch is bad and bullshit. My niggas are savage, ruthless. Got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. Got 30s and 100 rounds too. Float on the track like a Segway. Yeah, that way. I used to trap by the subway. Yeah, that way. Young nigga trap with the AK. Yeah, that way. Big Dyco, get a dope Macy. Raindrop, drop top. Smoking on cooking the hot bar. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, dot. Cooking up dope in the crock pot. We came from nothing to something, nigga. I don't try nobody, grip the trigger. Call up the gang and they come and get gang. Cry me a river, give you a tissue. Bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. My bitch is bad and bullshit, bad. Cooking up dope with a Uzi. My niggas are savage, ruthless. We got 30s and 100 rounds too. Raindrop, drop top. Raindrop, drop top. Raindrop, drop top. You know, young rich niggas. You know, so we ain't really never had no old money. We got a whole lot of new money though.
Did a full 180 are no good for me no more. We don't know how to love without a war. We're a disease without a cure. You wanna hurt just a little more. We are casually cruel. You were my training wheels on April Fool, but our tolerance is full. Don't wanna hurt anybody, hurt anyone no more. Ain't this a pity watching your pretty smile so warm? And I am already halfway out the door. And you go and kiss me, say you were tipsy, baby.